Welcome, everybody. So I'm delighted to firstly introduce Brett Davis. Brett Davis is a father, partner, and artist based in Columbus, Ohio. And Davis's art practice draws connections between art making and fatherhood as he collaborates closely with his 5-year-old child, Toko. He holds a BA in American Studies from Georgetown University and an MFA in Visual Art from the Ohio State University. He is the recipient of the 2023 Greater Columbus Arts Council and Columbus Museum of Art Visual Arts Fellowship, and his books are held extensively in US collections, as well as the Tokyo Photographic Art Museum Library in Japan. So welcome, Brett. I invite you to share your screen, and we're looking forward to your talk.
All right. Thank you, Helen and Leo, for organizing this exhibition. And thank you for Ramona for being in conversation with me today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And basically, I'll be showing some footage of Toko and I making work together over the years. And then it will end with us making the work for the Fellowship 25 exhibition. So as Helen mentioned, I make work in close collaboration with my daughter, Toko. I also work with my partner, Sayaka, and I've made work in the past with my grandmother-in-law, Satoshi. My practice is based in care. So I'm interested in care, collaboration, and love. And, I approach care from basically two angles. Firstly, I'm interested in how acts of familial care can be art or can be translated into visual art. And then I'm also interested in how collaborative art making itself is a form of care. Toko is 5, but we've been collaborating for about 3.5 years. When she was 1.5 years old, we started drawing together on the floor. I realized that she was not interested in digital photography at all, but I knew that I really wanted to convey this experience of parenthood, family, of working with a child in a way that wasn't just about family, but kind of embodied that experience and that relationship. And so I started working with her on the floor and drawing and painting and allowing her to choose all of the materials that we would use. And then we would just do these very small, very quick making sessions, in my parents' backyard, in my in-laws' driveway, on the living room floor of our apartment in Columbus. And as time progressed, these kind of small actions would build and build and build and build, and then be compiled into larger installations, which you're seeing here. So, I document a lot of our daily life. I'm interested in our relationship to each other, but also to our friends, our family, and our neighbors, many of whom are in this Zoom right now. And so I document rituals through photography and video, birthdays, walks to the park, art exhibitions, conveyor sushi celebrations, skyline chili with my parents, brushing Toko's hair every night, cooking vegetable soup when my partner's sick, a recipe that I learned from her grandmother. And then I'm also interested in documenting intergenerational relationships and touch. And, we spend so much time with my in-laws in Gunma, Japan. And, my grandmother-in-law is 93 and Toko is 5. They've been hanging out and doing stuff together since she was a baby. We were in COVID lockdown actually with my partner's family. And so, I realized that a lot of what I was searching for within an art practice was already kind of here. And if I just focused on the people immediately around me and just noticed the things that were happening in my life, it could convey the experience of family in a genuine way. So once we kind of document all these things. It could be, I think of documentation quite expansively, drawings, clothing, just kind of the things that are created through our life together are kind of compiled with photographs into installations. And so here is an installation that was up at the Columbus Museum of Art. These are all 4x6 photographs pulled from video stills, much like the fellowship exhibition, and then taped together and painted. So Toko loves taping. She loves processes like that. But now that she is a little bit older, she's very interested in photography, in images. And so I took the opportunity for the Silver Eye exhibition to really like let her take the lead on a lot of the editorial decisions and a lot of the kind of building of image relationships. So our previous kind of method of working was very anti-editing, just like printing everything and then using it all. But for this exhibition, we put 140 stills on one side of our apartment, and then together we kind of pulled images off the wall and then reinstalled them on the opposite end of our living room, which was, documented. It changed multiple times. She was interested in kind of making interesting shapes, putting all photos of Toko together into diamonds, putting together squares that she called art TVs, and then also just she stacked images to her own height. And what I've found through working with Toko is that, just through allowing her to partake in a lot of the, the whole process of the art practice, the research, the process of making the exhibition, that it really conveys her presence to the viewer. So, she is about 3.5 feet tall, so she can only hang things that she can reach. She also communicates when she wants me to hang something higher, which you'll see in the video soon. But yeah, this was kind of her first time as lead photo editor and curator. And so you might hear her talk about how she's the leader. It's something from her school that they have song leader and they have the line leader. I'm gonna pause this real quick. So yeah, I think this video is the very, very beginning of our 88 Stills Fellowship 25 Silver Eye exhibition. So you can kind of see the beginning of it. I'm documenting her installing, and then later I put down the camera and then we finished the install without recording. But I wanted to include this footage because this footage then will get recycled into the practice, printed as stills, and then will be in a future exhibition. So I have this process with Toko where the art practice is very much ingrained in our life practice, our just daily life, and it feeds itself. And so my goal is to make art until I die. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can do that and have a full-time job and take care of my family. And yeah, it just feels like a way to show work that feels genuine to the relationship that we have with each other. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to play you this clip, and you can just see how Toko makes art.
This is a photo compact. And this is a TV. It's always artwork. Let's get started. I want to ask you to put it on and I'll tell you where to put it.
Okay. Where?
Hold it. Come on and put it right here. Sideways, Papa. It's sideways. I'm gonna make another diamond.
Oh.
Sideways. And I'm gonna make some more. Toko. Toko. And this one is sideways too. Yikes! It's a Toko on the ground.
Ugh.
Pick Toko up before she falls into the lava bed. Push them. We have to put these on hard so it won't fall off. Oh no, shingles, feathers. It's all off the wall. Put that back on. This one, at least. This one. And in the middle. Eggshell breaks. Hi, I'm an egg. Well, part of an egg. Ooh, 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 ooh. Egg, 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 egg. Come in, egg. We're all where everyone is part of an egg. Hi, I'm Eggy. Well, I'm part of an egg. Let's go to Eggland. We're at Eggland. Now everyone has to be an egg. Egg. Eggland is very hot. So, eggshell, do your stuff. Oh, that's better. Sunshine is very hot and perfect, but not least no sunshine. be on, but this one's bending. That's more like this. Yeah. Oh. It. Back on the wall. More looks like a TV.テレビを作りたいの。だけど最初はマジック。
Okay, so that gives you a little bit of an idea how things came together. You know, our interests and Toko's interests are constantly changing. Nowadays, she is interested in photography. She's really interested in theater and dance and music. So, you know, for future work, I'm trying to figure out, you know, how we can make music together or maybe do some more performative pieces for video. But yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you so much, Brett, for that wonderful insight into your collaborative practice with Toko and how the Silvereye installation evolved and was created together. That was wonderful. So next I'm very happy to introduce Ramona. Ramona Jingru Wang transcends documentary traditions in her work to craft narratives that shed light on compassionate bonds that photographs can nurture. Her work delves into themes of identity, community, and the deep connections fostered between humans and their surrounding spaces. She studied at the International Center for Photography, Bard College, and graduated with an MFA in photography from the Pratt Institute, New York. So welcome, Ramona. I invite you to share your screen and we're excited to hear your talk.
Hey, okay. Thank you, Helen, and thank you, Brett, for the presentation. So my project, very similar to Brett's, just kidding. It's probably not. It's very opposite. So my project's called My Franchiside Works, but that's okay. It's basically a mockumentary project to imagine a world where Asian bodies navigate as cyborgs in a hegemonic human society. And I started this project because I watched too many sci-fi movies, mostly made by Hollywood. And I found that some part of it is kind of annoying to me, the way how these Western filmmakers imagine the future, this dystopian future of the world similar to Asian cities, very like particularly Asian cities with like fake Asian characters anywhere, and then like most of the Asian characters as human, not characters as writing characters who are in the movies are mostly they're either very robotic, very intelligent, but like not human at all, or they're like very, very sexualized. Just think like Kyoko in the Ex Machina, that kind of characters. So that's what made me start thinking of this project. And I look around and see how all my friends who are Asian, how they live, and then I wanted to start this project to create this narrative of these nuances of our life that's not depicted or that's not expressed in the mainstream media. So the whole project is actually very collaborative, and these are all my friends. Some of them are closer than the other, and then the process that I do is I would reach out to them, and I also made a casting call, and then people would email me, and I explain to them what this project is, and then I usually tell them, just imagine if you are in a world where you are a cyborg, and some of them can actually relate. They feel like they are because they don't belong to either part of the world. They don't feel fully human. They don't feel fully like engaged in this society, but then they also don't fully feel that they're where they are where they are from. And this is the project how we made these photos. And this is Minami. She's a good friend of mine. She's a model, but she's a plus size model, so a lot of times when she think about her identity, it's a lot about how she looks, how her body is perceived by other people, and we made this photo in her bedroom. Go down. And this is Kevin and David. This is actually in Kevin's hair salon. Kevin is a hairstylist, and he has this second floor balcony green room type of room where he has a lot of plants. And yeah, and I became friends with him because we both live in the Lower East Side, and I always see him on his bike with his dog Gohan, who sadly passed away a couple months ago. But yeah, that's how we became friends. And I asked him if I could take a photo of him in his hair studio. This is Anna Anstoke, and actually Anna emailed me responding to my casting call, and then we planned out this whole shoot, but I didn't want to call it like a stage shoot because I asked her a lot of questions, and then I asked her, do you want to do it with a friend? And then so she has this best friend who's going away for grad school, and they wanted to do a photo together, and I asked what they usually do together, and she said she sometimes has her hair buzzed at home, and so we recreated this whole scenario in her apartment. And this is Sammy and his partner. I knew Sammy many, many, many years ago, and I think he was one of the first friends I made once I moved to New York. Um, I don't know if I can say this. I guess, yeah, he's probably a sex worker. He does a lot of jobs. One of his jobs. And he's very proud of his sexuality. He's always advocate for his community. And after knowing him for 5 years, I asked him to take his photos again, and then he let me into his home and do some photos with his partner. Um, this is Vanilla. They don't want me to reveal their real name, but they also, I know them on Instagram for a long time, and then once I posted this project idea, they reached out to me and they told me this thinking that they've been having for a long time of being Asian. They have they told me they have this pleasure of self-inflicted pain, and then they sometimes feel difficult to talk to people around them. Mostly because they said it's because there's a lot of conservative or like um idea about Asian family, and then this yeah, so they told me they wanted to explore this idea in photograph, and then so I went to their house and we did this photo together. And this is Hop and Chi. Um, they're just my best friends. It's funny because I met them separately. I didn't know they're siblings. Um, I met Hop on Instagram. We've been friends of the internet for a long time, and then I met Chi one day at a music video shoot for Future's music. This rapper, Future. We were both modeling for Future. It was a really wild concept because I guess because we have some similar feature on our faces, me and Chi, the girl, the not facing towards us, facing the river. Um and yeah, it was a wild shoot for Future. There were just five of us Asian girls in the music video, but we bonded over that. And then later I asked them if I could do a shoot with her and her sibling, Hop. Oh, and this is Cass and Jazzy. Um, it's very interesting because Jasmine has been my friends for many, many years. And then, and one day I saw Cass on Instagram, and then Kaz is a skater. I wanted to take her photos, and then I asked her if she wants to be in my project, and then Kaz told me she's dating Jasmine, who's my friend, and I didn't know that, and I was like, that's perfect. I just want to, document some moments of your life. So this is probably the least staged photo in this project. And this is Minami again. And this is probably the most staged photo in this project. It's not real at all. This is not who they are. It's a photo from a short film made by my friends. And then this short film, the whole film is about these rebellious Japanese schoolgirl. They're called Sukiban girls, and then we just wanted to have this like very brief moment of like depiction of these type of girl. And then my friend, while they were making the movie, they asked me to take some photos out of these characters, and this is how the photo were made. And this is probably one of the closest friends of mine in this project. She's my teen, and I made this photo really, really early on in this project, and I just went to her room because she always has very interesting collection of things, and I thought, yeah, let me just document this corner of your life. Um, this is Brenda and Clara. I photographed them because it's kind of interesting because they have this underwear line that they started, and I was like, I wanted to take photos of you, and they're like, why don't you take some photos of our underwear? And it just happened, and they're really open to just to open to posing, open to having a good time, and this is how we made this photo. There's nothing much behind this photo. We had a great time upstate. I always plan these short trips every year in the summer with a few friends to go upstate, and then we'll find a really cool house. And then just one morning, I woke up my friend Wang Hao, who's in the photo. I was like, "It's so beautiful outside. Why don't you just go into the water?" And we took this photo. So Elaine, this is the girl in the photo. I took a photo because I also thought that she has a really interesting collection of things. She has a really strong style of who she wants to be seen, I guess. I know her because she's a K-pop DJ. She's part of a K-pop DJ collective. I sometimes go to their parties, and she also has a day job as a data scientist. And I thought this is so kind of typical Asian of us to have such normal job, but also a wild side at night. Wen and Ariana reached out to me to do this project together because they just told me they're really good friends, and then they're graduating, and Ariana and they're moving apart. Wen went back to Taiwan after this, and I'm just glad that I got to capture this moment of their friendship together. I think this is also one of like the least staged photos that I took of them. And there's this Hannah. So Hannah I knew her because she's been a plus size, like a professional plus size model for a while. She was signed with Wilhelmina, and then, but then later I reached out to her. I found out that she's actually, when I took this photo of her, she was working for Google. She's a UX researcher. And I thought this is also, back to what I was saying, this is a very, I don't know, stereotypical Asian idea of like a good kid. But then there's also this, desire, or like this brave, expression of like who you want to be. A lot of how she wants to be seen is about her body, being a plus size Asian models, and like what you experience, what you are expected to be in a casting or like for campaigns. So yeah, that's what prompted us to do this photograph together. And I think that's the last one. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramona, for talking us through your project and these really important questions about identity and representation, as well as showing about the long-term friendships and collaborations that guide your work.